Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are well. It's looking more and more like this workbench is running out of life now. For those that haven't seen, the latest progress pics for my new recording studio went onto my Discord today. oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/Discord if you are not already on there. It is getting to a rather exciting point where you can start to see it coming together now. Oh yes, and exclamation mark Discord in the chat as Linny just put. Thank you very much, Linny. So tonight we are starting on something that I'm really expecting this to get me censored on some form of social media. I'll probably get like shadow banned on Twitter or something for keep saying invalid. But there we go, that's how it goes, isn't it? Hello Corbs, welcome, how are you? I hope you are well. Of course, in 1907, when this was built, invalid was a more acceptable term. So yes, this is the Branchlines, South Eastern Chatham Invalid Saloon. There was only one of these built, and I mean, I've got enough SE&CR stock now. I need more interesting vehicles. So I bought the D-Class back out with only the one bird cage because I didn't want to fill the whole workbench with bird cages. To remind me that we will soon be getting on with the D-Class again. Because I've got some proper transfers for it now. Including some nice shiny gold lettering. So that will be returning to the workbench soon, and as we discussed, it'll be having its upgrades. So it's going to get working inside valve gear. It's not going to be a fun job, but it's going to be a worth it job, I hope. But yes, working inside valve gear requiring a bit of a rebuild to the chassis to make it be able to fit, but it will happen. And good evening, Richard. How are you? I hope you are well. And yes, James Gold. Always believe in your soul, etc. So I've not actually taken a proper look at this carriage in literally years. It has sat in the pile to be done, knowing I will eventually get round to it. And here we are. A little tired, but just about to buy some low melt solder. Aha! Excellent. Low melt solder is good. This is really well and truly wrapped in this foil. That's a fair old chunk of plastic card in the bottom there to keep it straight. I think that's 80 thou by the looks of it. Can't complain that some free 80 thou plastic card for about the 7 kits of logos I need to build. Wow. Good job Linny taught you how to use it then, isn't it? We have some white metal parts here as well that shall need some solder later, all the detail parts. It looks fun. And is that, yeah, that is a section of ratio seating. Still miff my new iron tips didn't fit. Yeah, I can imagine you are. They'd fit my soldering iron. Because you've got the same tips as I've got in your new set. That is not from this kit. Wooden roof of SE&CR profile. Not sure how much I trust a wooden roof to actually look good. We shall see. It may just be used as a former for a plasticard one. And a guide of what to put where on the roof. So I just need to buy a new soldering iron that has a better temperature gauge than my current one. Yeah, I can thoroughly recommend getting a decent soldering iron with a good temperature gauge. That is nice and easy to see what that one's doing. I don't want to throw that down there, but I did. That was silly. And there we have our nicely etched sides. We are going to try a trick for the turn undery bit on the sides, which I have been taught many times, so in theory I'm going to do it properly first time for people that don't have access to tools for rolling, because I like to do that sort of thing. We've got some nice brass bogies and an interior partition wall with a door on it. I'm noticing I haven't found any instructions. That's what I'm noticing right now. And there is the floor and various other bits. Yeah, sadly modelling Scottish Railways means I have to try and buy kits that are out of production. Yeah, it's never good having to buy out of production kits, is it? No, there's definitely no instructions here. Things you should have checked before you started. Never mind, we'll get there. What type of soldering iron do you have, Gary? Looks a good piece of kit. It came off of Amazon and was bought for me. But we do have WEP 939D Plus on there, so that might help find it. But yeah, it was bought for me by a viewer when my old one died. So yeah, this is going to be a fun kit with no instructions. My instructions are that. And that. So, if someone happens to have the instructions for this kit lying around, get them scanned in and sent to me. It should mostly make sense. Everything is labelled. Look, we've got battery boxes, we've got drop lights, we've got a light switch, grab handles, door handles, BRBs, footboards. No instructions, like my J. Join the club. Oh, fun. Branchlines kits don't seem to come with instructions, as I found out when I got their Terrier chassis kit. Ah! Fun. I've got 2 more interior partitions here and some end steps. Now I can make out what most of it is, so we shouldn't have too much trouble. Yeah, that's mostly bogie detailing parts there. There's pipes and buffers as well. Some brake cylinders. Everything else got the most United is being mostly North British stock and a mix of Caledonian Railway with LMS. Is this the one that still exists at the Kent and East Sussex? Yes, it is. This is the one that still exists at the Kent and East Sussex. It was a one-of-a-kind carriage. The Southern sold it to the Longmoor Military Railway and it ended up going via them to the Kent and East Sussex for preservation. Does this have fold lines? It does have fold lines on the back. That's a good start. Not that they make any sense having these ones on this side and these ones on this side, but there we go. Right, I promised you a trick. Let's try my trick first of all. Compensation beams. Ah, there we go. So that was one etch once upon a time. I bet the whole thing was actually. I bet that came on the end there. Yeah, it did. Like there's one etch like that. I got the kit second hand. What I need right now is this bit of plastic card to sit under here. And I can get my knife through there. See, sometimes I know what I'm doing. Sometimes. I can see I'm going to have a lot of Discord to go through later. Not in photos only, I imagine that you'll be making some use of Hatton's Genesis carriages for that. I did run a lot of old carriages. How thick does the etch feel? I found my Bill Bedford etch far thicker and feels far nicer, safer to cut than the old Mallard etch. It does not feel particularly thick. It would not take a lot of force to bend that. And the knife, which, I mean, it's a relatively recent blade, but it's not brand new, is slicing through it very easily. But yeah, I mean, that bend there tells you it's not very thick, doesn't it? It might be 10 thou. So there's no strength to it whatsoever from being bent. I'm not putting the compensation beams on. I definitely don't need them on a bogey carriage in 00. So, first thing we need to do is clean up all those tabs. But there you go, even that has bent the corner slightly. So yeah, very flimsy brass, but still nice. Still really nicely etched though. I mean, I'll never have any use for it, but someone at club had 2 of them, so he was getting rid of one because there was only ever one, and how could I say no? In Scotland, I believe till about the 30s that they got rid of 6-wheeler coaches and they were using old North British bogie coaches till about the 50s on Branchlines. Interesting, there we go, someone that knows his stuff. But yeah, it does look very nicely etched. Got to give it that. All the holes for the grab handles and the door handles are all really nicely formed. Do you have a folding jig? Oh, you know I don't have a folding jig. Looks like no fiddly hinges to add either. No, the hinges are all part of the etch. Oh, that's nice of it. There's a label there. This is part G. That'll help with my... Well, I mean, I don't know what that reference is. I might have got one since I last asked. Yeah, you'd know if I got one though, wouldn't you? I'd have shown it off, let's be honest. I'm hoping to have the body of the coach built tonight. I mean, there's not a lot to it, so I don't think it would be impossible to get that far. We shall have to see. I'm certainly going to get the main body parts cut out first. They seem like the sensible place to start. Get the four sides and the floor together. And the partitions, and we should have something with some strength to it. So, how is everyone doing this evening? What are we working on whilst we are here? Or what are we up to if we're not working on stuff? You know the drill. I like to hear from you about what's going on. Removing grease from Hornby T9 wheels. Oh, fun. I bet you now, as you're doing that, you're finding out there was way too much grease on them as well. That seems to be quite common with Hornby. Gears, yeah, they'll be over greased. Not a lot really. Had to buy a new laptop screen. It's working perfectly again. Yes, I saw your laptop was working again, and that is absolutely excellent, Richard. Doing some prep work on my Pullman commission. Going to be working on the underframe tomorrow, hopefully, and using a Dremel to carve new oval windows. Fun! Good evening, Red. How are you? I hope you are well. There was a surplus, yes, of course there was. As I say, it's Hornby. I'm pondering to start another 4mm wagon CAD. Well, do. That is my advice, Linny. Doing some odds and ends on my D&D group's personal wiki, amongst other things. Interesting. Shaking people. Hello, Javier. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Well, thank you. Excellent. Glad to hear it, Red. Glad to hear it. GRX first by this model's period for brakes. Ah, excellent. Fitting horn blocks to a Branchlines Terrier chassis. Ooh, going for compensation as well then. Very nice. All's well on the home front. Excellent. We're actually going to have GR buffs stocks, but we both agreed to try and keep costs down, so I'm using kin detailing kits among other things. Yeah, makes sense. All quiet on the western front. That's good. Till it gets loud, then it's not so good. There we go, there are 4 sides. We also want the floor, I think, and the partitions, because we'll probably want to get one side and possibly both ends on, and then get the partitions in before putting the other side on. That is what I'm thinking. The problem is there's lots of detail parts that are in the floor. I don't want to take that off yet. I want to get all those detail parts out. Where's my pot? There's my pot. Come out, little N-gauge Gladstone. It's time for you to go back in the other pot. The N-gauge Gladstone has not progressed any. I think I got the curiosity of, can I scratch build a Gladstone in N-gauge? The answer is yes, but it's not a fun scale to work in. For me, personally. Don't go flying off. The problem is here, of course, I'm going to have to remember what all these parts are. Once they're off here. I'm actually thinking, would it maybe be better to fit the door handles and the grab handles before putting the sides together? N-gauge is a happy gauge. For you, yes. If you're happy with it, that's fine. My eyes definitely struggle with it. Many vents. N-gauge is a gauge that requires far more skill than I have. It requires far more eyesight than I have. Suggestion, if cutting off lots of little bits of the fret, stick some sticky tape over them first to hold them once they've been cut off. That makes lots of sense. I've got all the really little bits off now though. And I suppose still the grab handles to go in a minute. Long vents. N-gauge plus glasses equals fun. I quite often need my glasses for double O. N-gauge is easier for diesel electric though, I suspect. Well, you're big ugly boxes need even less detail then. This claims to be a light switch. I'm not sure what a light switch is, why we need a light switch. There appears to be a drop light in there as well. I need my glasses for everything. I literally can't see without them. Yeah, see, I only need them for some things. In theory, I need them for anything up close. Obviously, this isn't actually true because I can quite happily do model trains without them a lot of the time. Not always, but a lot of the time. For functional to ugly, I mean, they're definitely ugly though. And boxy. They're not like this beautiful D-class here, are they? Exactly. I take my glasses off to work on my models. I'm short-sighted. I am long-sighted. So that wouldn't work for me. For the gas valve on the outside of the carriage to control the gas flow to the interior lighting. Ah, okay. You can turn it on when required and off when not, thus reducing excessive use on the expensive gas, and the Southern SE&CR were incredibly frugal when it came to that commodity. Fair enough. Would that be mounted across one of the ends then, Alex? Which is why it's so long and weird looking. And there's a link to my Twitter from the bot, which means I missed when it's told everyone to like and subscribe and all that other goodness. So do make sure you like and subscribe and all that other goodness. And whilst you're there, do not forget to ring the notification bell and grab yourself a drink, because hydration is important. Not very D-class-ish, but they're very much their own thing. Yeah, big, ugly and boxy. So it's a very nice D-class. I need no glasses to see that. It is a very nice D-class, isn't it, Andy? I cannot wait to get back on with it. And the joys of 4mm is I can realistically say that is going to have working inside motion when it is done. Do that in 2mm. Believe so, yes. It seems that way with the length of it. I'm long-sighted, but I need my glasses for driving and watching TV. I do not need them for driving. In theory, depending on where I sat, like if I sat closer to the telly than I do, I probably would need them, but I sit a fair distance from it. My Oak Hill Model Railway mug is my main tea mug now. Excellent corpse. Oh, that makes me happy. Mine is, of course, usually used for coffee because caffeine keeps me alive. But I am glad to hear it's used by the drinkers of more British beverages for their more British beverages. I'm extremely short-sighted, like about 2 feet in front of me short-sighted. That is quite short-sighted. If I don't wear them, I forget to put them on. I often do. Mine actually live in a box on the workbench because it's the place I need them most. Remind me when you do the inside valves, Gary. I may need you for the Jupiter when I do her. I'll be using a Brassmaster's etch. I don't like tea or coffee. I mean, I never said I drink coffee for the taste. I drink coffee for the caffeine content. Finally had to give up and start wearing glasses full time. Following a week of dizziness, fainting and straining, reading at all levels, and things looking fuzzy, I'll be glad to see. I approve of being able to see. I don't approve of all the things you had to go through to get to the knowing you needed glasses full time. Don't like the taste of hot chocolate, not even with whipped cream and marshmallows. Wearing glasses makes the world look sharp. It's like putting the world in HD, isn't it? No, car. Doesn't tea have more caffeine than coffee? So, here's where we're going to dispel the myth. Because yes, tea has more caffeine than coffee, but only if you measure it by weight. By weight, tea leaves have a far higher percentage of caffeine than coffee beans. However, you use a far higher weight of coffee to make a mug of coffee than you do of tea leaves for tea. So your your mug of coffee has significantly more caffeine than your cup of tea. Tastes wrong to me. Fair enough, Richard. Guys insulted my hydration for tonight. Last optician told me my script doesn't change enough to make new glasses worthwhile. New optician looked horrified when I relayed that, and yes, definitely even colours are sharper for me. Yeah, when I put them on, like, if I were to put them on now to do this, I would notice the difference significantly. It is like going from standard definition to high. It's not as bad as, it's more like going from 720p to 1080p. I can tell the difference, but it's not enough to make me do it all the time. Myth busting, carry them on, start floating by. I hate coffee anyway, put it on fireproof soup for doing roasting. Okay, we all learn something new every day. We do indeed. Coffee is disgusting hot mud, tea is the nectar of the gods. No. Tea can be the nectar of the gods. Coffee is the elixir of life. I have no problem with tea being the nectar of the gods. As I am a mere mortal, I shall continue with my elixir of life. Even now, I like decaffeinated tea. Oh, I definitely don't like decaffeinated things. Sips green tea and French percolated coffee alternative. See, I have a variety of green teas in the kitchen, Alex. I'm not going to lie, I do have that. Discord, well, specifically Mr. Mole, was horrified when he saw my collection of teas when my coffee percolator broke. Nectar of Gods is Copperberg and that. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. But I'd rather have the coffee, to be honest. Cake is the elixir of life. No, definitely coffee. Coffee with cake. She tits for me, Yorkshire tongue for me. What is the soup of the gods? Oh, it depends on what mood I'm in. My preferred soups are usually either tomato or chicken. But I have got some sweet and spicy soup in the cupboard that's really nice. Cake is a lie. Green tea is drunk in copious amounts by me in the hopes of shed lockdown tummy overnight. Is that a divide you just clean up now? It even has pitch frames etched into it. Yes it is, and yes it does. That is the level we're talking about. Tinned soup, no, it's far worse than tinned soup, Alex. It has been a while since I have made any proper soup myself, because really the amount it gets drunk or eaten or whatever you do with soup, do you eat soup or drink soup? It's not worth it. Then we have another divider with picture frames etched into it, and one with panels that look suspiciously like more doors etched into it. So I've got packets. I haven't made packet soups since my uni days. See, I have packet soups because then the children can make them. That is why I have them. Fair enough. Can you imagine Zeus sitting down to bowl a Heinz cream and tomato? Yeah, I totally can actually, James. My uni days. I'm in my uni days, so I love the stuff. Way. I skipped that part of life and did it through the open uni. I don't regret it. But I totally get why people want the uni experience. Ultimately, he's just casually stirring the cream into the soups in big plastic tubs from Ocado. Well, I have not had the soups in big plastic tubs from Ocado. Oxtail cake. It's an interesting one. My favourite cake is bakewell tarts. Favourite soup is oxtail. Was that your retracted message? Was it red? Yes, favourite cake is oxtail. The picture boards to the Garca show his holiday pictures off. Yeah, must be. Why not? Right, that one's almost completely gone. There was just way too much there to file alone. See what's called oxtail super cake, like a numpty. And why not? See what I mean? Like, the cake really is a lie, James. Thankfully, that cake that is a lie is oxtail cake. I was really sure Glen oxtail cake is not a thing. Indeed. I like picking up the big tub stuff like Darl at work for £1. Lovely stuff. Even better when with an employee discount. Even better than was the 10 kilos of cheese I bought for £1. Nice. Love cheese. Sounds like 10 kilos of stomach cramps. Yeah, not for me, it's not though. I rather like fruitcake. I've taken to revert into the old tradition of having 12 cake instead of Christmas cake, so there is a lot of cake left over. Excellent. I approve of leftover cake. That means you get to eat more cake. This is one cake that I'm glad is a lie. So I'm not eating it. The skirt I want to be able to wear to America, so I'm avoiding dairy at all costs. Good move, Alex. Good move. I'm gradually eating it for pudding. Excellent, James. That is a good way to enjoy cake. Nothing wrong with a bit of cheese, as Wallace would, I'm sure, agree. Indeed he would. In fact, he would want a bit of cheese so much he'd fly to the moon just to get it. And I can't say I blame him, because I would totally do that if the moon were really made of cheese. So, yes, I think we should put the handrails and the grab handles and the vents on the sides before we build them. Still got a load of mince pies in the mini fridge in my garage. The best place for them, leave them there. 12th night cake recipe on BBC Food looks like it may be a good one to follow, even if it is Mary B, not Nigella. You realise, everyone that keeps retracting their messages, if I look on my chatbot, I can still see all your retracted messages. They don't go away from there. I'll be honest, Javier, there is Wensleydale with cranberry in my fridge at the moment, and it will not get eaten. Love cheese and apple pie opinions. Cheese. There is no food that is not improved by the addition of cheese. That is my opinion. Bread. It's much like bacon. Bacon also improves everything it touches. Have you ever heard someone say, "No, that's too much bacon"? I don't think you have. I want the train set that Wallace has in the wrong trousers. Definitely. Yes. Cheese on cheese, such as for Wednesday. No, the best place for storing mince pies is in the linny. Fine, they can go in the linny. Agree with Linny. So probably complete with penguin. Brandy filled mince pies with ice and ice fan. Even custard. Everything. He's got it. The Wednesday. Love the stuff. I think I've only ever bought Wensleydale when it's come on a cheese board, and it's been Wensleydale with cranberry, and I just do not think they go well together in the slightest. I think it's more the cranberry I'm disapproving of than the Wensleydale. Too much bacon is never enough bacon. Exactly, Red. I keep finding bacon chocolate cake recipes. See, no one's ever said too much bacon. Not a fan of bacon, too salty. It's like eating soup. Nah, bacon's the best. And yes, Wensleydale cheese is awesome. That's worse than oxtail cake. Cheese and custard is quite a it's just a quiche, yeah. Of course it is. And the bot says, remember, hydration is important. Wensleydale is good, Cheshire is better. I'm a fan of French cheeses personally. Alex may have a point about quiche, but cheese blanche, cheese and trifle, cheese and everything. From my Wensleydale with apricot. I don't think I've ever had it with apricot. I think I'm aware of it existing, so that's a start. But I think I've only ever managed to get it with cranberry. Brie and camembert have entered the chat. Ah, love me some baked camembert. There is 3 door handles. I promise they're there. I agree, Gary. Wensleydale and cranberry is iffy. Yeah, it is. And yes, Cheshire is better. Too much bacon can lead to cancer. Yeah, but that just means that cancer is the price for enjoying your life too much. If you get it from too much bacon, that is. Soap, not soup. Oh, okay then. I remember the comment. It was just it was a while ago, but yeah, that I said it, and I remember it. Have not has. Call yourself a linguist. You're still a better linguist than me, dear. Double Gloucester for me. Oh, Double Gloucester is nice. Yes. From the back of the pig, which is the fattest part. Oh, fair enough. I genuinely did not know that was the reason. I had heard about bacon and cancer and stuff, but I did not know that was the reason for it. Extra more short cheddar in pork pies, argument over. So cheese with everything. Cheshire eaten with a sharp apple is very good. Indeed it is. I like berries with nice nutty cheese and balsamic vinegar. Bacon is god tier food and I need to go. My head is throbbing up. Bid you farewell. Remind you all to smash the like button. You can't Lily will have to ban you all in my stead. Good night, Alex. I hope you are feeling better in the morning. Sleep well. Pork pies with excellent raw cheddar and pickle. Oh, God, yes. God, yes, Linny. Double Gloucester sounds like a type of tune. It also good night as well, but apple pies better than pork pies. I don't know. You should see the pork pie I had the other day. It was genuinely as big as my plate. Like as tall as this is if I stand it up. It was absolutely huge. That had all those door handles on, didn't it? There's one. That was really clever of me, wasn't it? There's two. We do not lose things on this live stream. Going to get these two attached and then worry about the third one. Big servings don't make savoury better than sweet. Sometimes they do. Okay, they don't, but sometimes they are just nicer. Pork pies, vegetable mature cheddar and apple sauce. Look, I think we can all agree that apple pies are clearly, pork pies are clearly excellent. Especially with cheese. Everything is improved by the addition of cheese, was my point. Right, they are not quite big enough, but not so small as to need the drill. I'm just going to poke them with the pin. Again, this etch does feel rather flimsy. So that's making some pretty sizable holes pretty quickly. We're not arguing about cheese improving everything, that's a given. It is indeed. But that was my point at the start, was that everything is improved by cheese. I'm going to need the very, very small tweezers here. And if I hold that on there, I can bend the other side down and it's not going to fall out. In theory. And that is the second one in. And folded over, so that also is not going to fall out. And there's the third one. You'll have to take my word on that, but it is there. Because on this live stream, we lose nothing. So there we have one side, door handle there, a door handle there, and a door handle there. You have seen them all. I am just as impressed that I managed to get them off. Very much unlike the small parts ping off into oblivion. I always used to, should the door handles not be pointing straight down, yes, they're not stuck on yet. They will be once they're actually stuck on. They're just kind of poked through the holes and bent round at the minute. So they are still currently free to rotate. Pretty sure door handle not properly turned is a stop and exam and bell code to the next signal box. I expect so. But yes, they will all be soldered the correct way, which means it's time to turn on the soldering iron and punch the camera, obviously. But yeah, I genuinely think we have never actually lost something on the live stream, unless you want to include whatever it is I put down and then I actually put this on top of it, and as I was moving stuff to film my review of the live stream, I found it instantly. What about the tumble home? Good evening, Stephen. I am going to sort the tumble home after I have attached the details. So I'm going to get the door handles and the grab handles on the sides first. The door handle the tumble home is going to come after that, before we start putting it together. It's all in hand, hopefully. Yes, how are you this evening, Stephen? I hope you are well. I'd recommend doing tumble home first because it'll be easy to damage your details. Ah, you may think that, but I have a plan, and I kind of want to see how well this works, because I am told I should not damage any details. I am told. I will admit I have not actually tried this out. I've just not built a brass coach since being told of this method. And we all know how well I've got a plan worked in War of the Always been told to fit the drop lights, handles, etc. before bending. Yeah, see, that's what we're going to do. Drop lights and everything are going to go on as well. And we're going to see just how well it goes. And of course, as the good lady Alex said, she is watching this with interest for also building this kit. So, if I get it wrong, that's me making the mistake so that she doesn't have to. See what I did there? Right. I should, where is it? There it is. I definitely should have done this before threading them through. That wants to go round that way. I've bent them so that I know what way round it needs to be. Who is doing the telling? It is a tip I got off someone at club who models P4. and does much more stuff like this than I do. Plan so cunning, you can put a tail on it and call it a fox. In theory, if this works, it's not only... It not only works, but it essentially doesn't cost anything in tools either. I should move that now that I've put that on, because that can't, I don't really want to melt that. I've really thought that the 12th night quake paddle would have been rewatching 2012 Globe on YouTube. So what should we do? If I could put GIFs in this chat, I feel so much Baldrick. I've not taken the lid off my soldering iron cleaner. I should do that. Working on SVIs and using C, some of the younger folk pressing the slam door protection rubber stop on the carriage if the door is closed, thinking it's the open button. Good evening, Bob. How are you? I hope you are well. There's one of the door handles, there's the other. They of course didn't stay in place, but that one is pointing correctly, even if it doesn't want to focus. The joys of bending it the way I did is I can see what way it's pointing from behind. Fine thanks, hope it's all well with you too. It is indeed. I mean, I've had an interesting day. Just harking back to the earlier talk of hot drinks, I put my kettle on earlier and my plug socket decided to make lots of sizzling noises, and then I could see some sparks coming out through it. So I thought, I'd best turn that off and call an electrician. So that was fun, having a Sunday call out for an electrician. That's disconcerting. It was rather. It was not what I wanted earlier. But the electrician came out, he changed the socket and did a check to make sure everything was safe. What was the problem? We think it was the socket itself was faulty. When he took it off, the earth cable was very, very burnt, but there was no obvious place where it had been arcing or shorting. There was none of the cables looked damaged. And another downwards pointing handle. This is why it's good to get a whole house RCD. Well, I've got one of them. But as Linny explained to me earlier, an arc has lots of resistance, so won't trip because of the low current. Then you remember the sausages under the grill. If only. This is why I've been using the tweezers and not the pliers. They don't squeeze it too hard and send it shooting off. So what was I saying earlier about the fact we have never lost anything on the live streams? Because that might be our first thing. Seen this a few times at work, check the fuses and do high voltage. Yeah, the fuses are, well, the trip switches are fine. It's breakers that have trouble with arcs. Okay, fair enough. No, I thought Gary had breakers, not RCDs. I might have breakers, who knows. Well, I've got a big cabinet full of switches to turn things on and off that do like the house. It's a relatively modern one, like 5 years old, if that. Burnt earth cable suggests the earth cable was carrying a lot of current, which would definitely have tripped a working RCD. RCDs are excellently, if your earth cable was burnt, you can test your RCD if you have one. Okay, I shall do that. I do have, there is a test button, so yeah, I should do that. I will do that. In fact, no, he did that earlier. He did all the testing, everything when he was here earlier. I'm going to get another one out for now. I'm sure we will find it later. This is why I have a white workbench, is things show up on it. In fact, I'm going to put that back because it's right here. We never lose anything on this live stream. That is why we have a white workbench. We're going to do that first this time. I recommend watching Technology Connection video about RC. It's very informative and interesting. Unless it's one of his last two or three, I've definitely watched it. Because other than the last 2 or 3, I have watched the entire channel. Because you see, Linny, you recommended the channel to me and I sat there and binged it because it was very interesting. Would Move not work as well? None of your locomotives or parts of locomotives are Move. No, they would not. Move would not work nearly as well. Move's quite close to SE&CR Lake though. See, there you go, James. They might not be Move themselves, but Move locomotives, that's a new one. I mean, is it? There's probably been one in Thomas. And there we go. Door handle, door handle, door handle. Next thing to do is the grab handles, if I can get them out of here. One, two, only two, not 3. Yeah, there isn't one on the middle set of doors. There's one here, there's one here, that is it. This channel needs more mauve generally. No, it doesn't. The channel colour is blue. And it shall remain to be so. Check how well formed these are. I'm sure they are exactly perfect to bend in the corners, but I want to make sure. They seem to be. So we will do that. Precisely, that's why we need more mauve. When was the last time you had a mauve thing on your channel? I believe the answer to that, James, is never. And I'll be honest, I'm quite happy to keep it that way. Yep, they line up nicely, bent like that. Where's the pin? Oh yeah, it's covered in flux. Not quite big enough holes yet. I don't want to put too much pressure on because of how easily these etches want to bend. First time for everything. Not for a mauve locomotive on the channel, there isn't. Well, not at the moment anyway. I'm never going to say never to anything. Not even a mauve locomotive. But right now, no. I'm blue da booty da boo. Exactly. Oh, it would help if I hadn't got a hole that's being made smaller by there being solder all over it on the back. That would certainly help. Some sort of anti-Movis, not at all. Have you seen Robin Adelaide Hanson's electro swing cover of that? I have not, but that sounds interesting. I want to find that now. I will of course forget about it by the end of the live stream, but I want to see it. Maybe just for the Chelsea's thing as the last time. Yes, never had such an annoying song sounded so good. Steamhaul train in Australia with engine and coach and Cadbury Dairy Milk livery. Oh no. No, I'm not a fan of that idea. There we go. It's in. Never heard the original Ali Robin. That's probably a good thing, Jazz. Oh no, it's that it's the icon is mauve. It's Rose Allegiances. Oh. The original song's Europop earworm from the mid-90s. It is indeed. And it's definitely one of those songs that you won't regret missing. You are right, Red, it does sound a bit like a song lyric. And there we go, grab handle to go with the door handle. Would help if I held it in the right, way round, wouldn't it? I need to poke a hole. Meet guys where Eurotons, it's extra playlist on Spotify. I'm not surprised in the slightest, Alex. I don't 90s cheese, but not a big fan of Europop. Yeah, there is a lot of 90s music I will happily listen to. I grew up with it. But there's also a lot that's just irritating. Right, that should be deep enough. I probably shouldn't put that back in the flux till I know for sure, should I? If I'm in the mood for it, sure, but otherwise I do find it very cheesy. Yeah, again, that doesn't surprise me. I prefer 90s rave tunes myself. Yeah, I mean, there were some good ones. I have a friend who was a DJ early to mid noughties, and he used to do 90s nights that were great. I believe the locos around Bourneville Cadbury were indeed mauve. I thought the Bourneville ones were red. But I could be wrong. Bit of happy hardcore puts me in a good headspace. Happy hardcore is good, yes. Nothing wrong with a bit of happy hardcore. No, until you start playing the stuff my ex-wife used to play, because my ex-wife liked that. Franco's Hollywood, Pet Shop Boys, Depeche Mode, Erasure, that sort of direction. Well, there's some good stuff in there. There's one they keep playing on the radio from Pet Shop Boys that I quite like, and I can't think what it is. We really got into 70s, 80s disco a while ago. Love 80s synth. Well, to be honest, most 80s tunes. The 80s were great. All the best things were made in the 80s. Mauve Train posted on Discord. Oh dear. Who has bought 10 kilos of cheese recently? That was the good lady. And there's a link to Patreon. Conversation keeps going back to cheese. Well, and why not, Andy? Time is fleeting, cheese is eternal. About 10 years ago, still a theme tune to fame. It's peak 80s synth. Yes, it is. Submit the soundtrack to Educating Readers from 81. Flashdance, that is key 80s. Yes. Blue Monday is my favourite 80s tune. Yeah. I have lots of 80s music I like. Who's had goat or sheep's cheese? I have had both. Let's check right. I remember watching that. I like the 1980s. Love that tune. Always used to listen on the way back from the gym. Even a loud set in the 80s. Yeah. So it's probably about time to renumber a J83. Oh, excellent. What way are you renumbering it? What shall its new identity be? I was waiting for that, James. Great things come from... There was all that talk of 80s music and no one posted the gold command for that long. Always believe in your soul. You've got the power to know. YouTube will ban me if I keep doing this. I mean, I assume the YouTube spiders can't pick me up because I'm singing it so badly. I put extra pauses and everything in there. It's done on purpose, partly for that reason. And of course the words change makes it technically a cover, therefore not actually copyright infringement. Cadbury's owned engines were more burgundy than mauve. Yeah, that's what I thought. Gold stuck in my head. Don't worry, I have gold stuck in my head all the time. They're always doing this to me. Good evening, Thomas. How are you? You made it into a sea shanty. I'm no good at sea shanties, unfortunately. I mean, I'm no good at actual singing either, so you know. Remembering 9828 from later email number 8457. Ah, excellent. Remember to switch to the right account this time. You did! You got on your first message was on the right account. That doesn't happen often. One thing I watched months ago on speech patterns and how great orators typically employ pauses at unusual moments, i.e. Reagan would let a sentence go on and then pause randomly. Yes, he did that a lot, didn't he? You are quite right. I'm amazed I've reminded you of great orators though, because I certainly am not one of them. Right, cheers, quite happy with my airbrush has got to get the paint to thinner ratio sorted out. Ah, excellent. Excellent. How devil are you, sir? I am very well, thank you. Ah, really good to hear that thing does work. It certainly looks interesting when I saw it earlier, but when you first posted it, I was walking out my back door to chop some more wood for the new workbench. So I didn't really have time to reply because chopping was happening. Right, we're going to move that over there for now. Turn the workbench, the soldering iron back off because we're going to cut out the vents for the top and get them on. Looking at my back. I was walking out the back door. Right, so how many of these do we need each? We need 2 of these long ones. By carriage. I'd like to say it's 2 free roll in, but that's not a bad thing, is it? Then I take it it's 1 medium, 2 medium. Is it only these ones that are the small? Okay, so it's only these ones that are smaller by the looks of it. So 2 smalls and 3 mediums. But it looks like, oh no, there is more medium ones here. More small ones here even. I was going to say they're all mediums, but they're not. So I've got 2 smalls. It is 5. 2 smalls and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medium. Yeah. So I need another 3 off of this one. Which leaves me with 5 for the other side. That makes sense. There we go. Knowledge. So you can't beat a good wood chop. Indeed, not because of pork though. Well, no, that's true. It's meant to be a CCR song. I tell you. Well, I don't know. I genuinely don't know that song, so I've looked for a tune that I could fit the lyrics to, because it was clearly meant to be a song. Yeah, I've seen a video on new Hornby coaches, and even though the livery on them has been pointed out to be Not being correct, I really love the look of them. Well, I love them because they are Stroudleys. If I wasn't sat here live on the internet, I could go on my laptop and look up a file and tell you what every diagram they are doing is. They are well, some of them are Billingtons actually, but they've got Stroudley roof profiles. They're a bit of a hybrid, those ones, but they all match a Brighton prototype from the side, and I do have a list of what they are. So yeah, I'm very happy with those Hornby coaches, and I cannot wait for them to arrive. Derails apparently say they should all be out by the end of next month. So I am really looking forward to them arriving. We'll have a look at them on stream. I'm not going to do a proper review because that's not what we do on this channel, is it? I've done one review ever, and that was because it was sponsored. And trust me, I did not get paid nearly enough to do that. But I did not enjoy doing the review and have no plans to do more, unless other people want to sponsor me. Right, let me get back to where I was before the rant. What's the best way to remove loco numbers? Is it okay to use white spirit? I agree, Brasso. I've never used white spirit personally. I've used Brasso. I've used this. I've used this in the past, but that can be a bit too much sometimes. The acetone. Yeah. Proof of Stroudley. Indeed, Jazz. I prove generic as it means they won't look terrible in KLR brown. Yeah, but they're not actually generic red. That's the thing. They are not generic coaches. They just decided to put Stroudleys in lots of liveries. For generics, I would always go with the Hattons ones. They are a failed attempt to make some Stroudleys more generic. Frozen Cool Polyester Strip Plus, it's available on Amazon. If all else fails, it's good for stripping citadel paints. Four wheelers, D45 brake third, D44 third, D41 composite, full brakes, freelance but kind of based on the stretch, D47 222 full brake. Yes, there's also a D70 and a D71 in the six wheelers. I can't remember what the six wheel brake is though. I think the ones I've bought are due out on 21st. Can I send them to you to pre-assess? If you can. I don't know. I've ordered all the Brighton livery ones. I have no idea when they're due out. But they're not getting paid until after payday. Unless lots of donations start coming into the channel, then they might get paid before payday. No, that new build D1's still a thing, £10 million. I won't ever change that amount unless I do. T-cut is also useful, mild abrasive. Oh yeah, of course. Often printing numbers on paint finish, removing the printing will also remove the paint as well. Yes, that is always... that is why I prefer not to renumber ready to run things. If I can get away with leaving numbers alone, I will, because I don't want to ruin the finish. I'm always worried I will ruin the finish. I can't remember what livery I bought. I did at least place my order of them with Hattons, so Hattons still get some money. And I very much am getting the Hattons ones in South Eastern and Chatham livery. I had at no point, I mean I had for a little bit, but I did not intend on having the Hattons ones in Brighton livery. I think I did pre-order them and then cancel it for a little while. But by the time the Hornby ones had come out, my Brighton liveried pre-orders had been long cancelled. They would have been cancelled otherwise, regardless. Not the matters, I'll be repainting the time, and yes, I bought them through Hattons along with their own 6-wheel brakes. Yeah, the Hattons range is very nice. I much prefer the Hattons range as generics, as I've said. I really can't see the Hornby ones working very well on any railway other than the Brighton. Haven't ordered any yet. Loads of stuff need to finish first. For example, I have a brake coach to paint to go for my TPO yet. Well, you know what you need to do then, Red? Get on with it, says the man who is finally working on his proper workshop / recording studio nearly 2 years after starting this YouTube thing. What do you want Hattons LBSC ones if you were going to cancel them? At the time I wanted them. I later changed my mind and went for SE&CR livery because I felt the style of them better suited SE&CR with their lookouts being a closer to LCDR than LBSC. They're far from perfect, but they're much better for ex-LCDR stock than they are from LBSC stock. Hattons Genesis carriage started out being rather Stroudly-esque, but wiser counsel prevailed. Indeed they did, Stephen, and very glad of that I am. They are much better for it. My theory, of course, is that Hattons knew about the Stroudleys coming from Hornby, and that's why there was no LBSC livery at first. And they added it due to popular demand, and that's when Hornby decided... And they either added it or they discovered that Hornby planned to try and copy the generic format and then added it. Or, you know, one way round, one of them changed suit and the other decided to compete. I don't want to get too far into the conspiracy theories, but that is mine. To be fair, I spent the first 2 years of my model railway career working on my living room table before I moved into this house and got a proper workbench. So no worries, Harry. Yeah, but I have a proper workbench. Let's see, I have a proper workbench. It's got plugs on it, it's got fold-up legs. It's got its own walls. Look, there's my nice lamp. All built for the sake of YouTube. It's recently been rumbled. Well, several Hatton 6-wheelers are very close indeed to some northeastern railway diagrams. Yes, I saw that. I did see that on RM Web earlier. I want to get the MBR coaches, although they aren't accurate, they'll look rather nice going behind my North British Glen Douglas. Yes! I'd say I saw some of the LNER liveried Hornby ones behind... Is it Sterling Single they were behind? The teak ones that on RM Web, and they did look fantastic behind it. Hydration is important. Was a Sterling single, yes. I may get a couple of both Hornby and Hatton's four-wheelers to run as a mixed Colonel Stevens-esque light railway train. That sounds like a fantastic idea. NER and MBR ones mean I have an excuse to get some. Well, yeah. I don't feel you need an excuse to get them. I think they're nice. As I just feel that the Hornby ones are too obviously Brighton. MBR, there we go, that's what I ordered. Yes, they look lovely behind 4th row. Mine again. Plain lumber. No, I'm glad that by my period the LBSC were calming down the lining. Yes. Although, of course, with plain umber, you would be... I shouldn't put that on yet. For umber carriages, you would be better with the Hatton's ones, which look closer to Billington diagrams, because, of course, Stroudley's did not live long enough to get umber. Or not in railway use, anyway. At least new Hornby four-wheelers do look better than the old ones they're replacing. Well, I mean, are they actually going to replace it? I would not be surprised at Hornby keeping the old four-wheeler in the range. Even if you make a generic coach, you have to start somewhere, so I'm not surprised they are similar to real ones. Indeed, but like the Hornby ones are not generic. They are very much Stroudley's. If you're going to go generic, Stroudley brakes are not the way to go. No, if it counts Hornby ones, then yeah, it might. For an all-over umber and later ones in umber, I would go with the Hatton's ones. I think. Hornby have announced train set with the old four-wheeler in it of this year's new products. There we go. Fairness, I wouldn't mind either way. I do genuinely like the old Triumph four-wheeler as much as it annoys many others. Yeah, it's certainly got many issues, that one. I've got plans to use some for things that hopefully will leave it looking nothing like a Hornby four-wheeler. Or them, I should say, because there will be multiple. I think Hornby still has the old four-wheeler in railroad range too. It wouldn't surprise me. Indeed, Stroudley brakes are very distinctive. Stroudley carriages are about the only carriages I'm aware of without election mouldings. I believe you are right there, Linny. Yes. I haven't been able to discover anything about withdrawal dates for the Stroudley four-wheelers. They date from the 1870s, so I'd be surprised if they lasted long into the 20th century. There's a few of them. I have a picture of a D47 222 brake in umber and white, which a few of them got as part of a block train, not for very long. And most mahogany coaches, or mahogany painted, which of course all the Stroudleys would have been by the time of the livery switchover. There weren't any new ones coming out that were still in bare mahogany. The ones that had been painted generally did not get umber and white livery, because it was found that the umber, the white the white is actually slightly cream, did not take well over the mahogany, and it took too many coats to get a good coverage. So they decided not to do them for cost-saving reasons. Okay, that sits on there nicely, and they are now both covered in flux as a result. I need to turn this back on, don't I? That helps. If you look at the books against what my modified set had. Indeed, if there's Stroudleys in there, get the Hornby ones. If there's not, if there's Billingtons, I mean the six wheelers are Billington sides, but they are very Stroudley roof profiles. So if you can live with that, stick with the Hornby ones. But otherwise, the Hattons ones would be better. I think it's a bit charming going, make good siding filler on the KLR. Yeah, I know why you like it, Red. I don't have a problem with you liking it. I just know others do, and I know why. Which means the airstyle very old LSWR picked out collection mouldings, contrasting colour, and there aren't any on the Hornby ones. Yes, indeed. Good evening, Great Northern. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Release on GWR Croissant and Cream, my favourite version, honestly. LME Arctic livery, second favourite. Some weird LMS livery. So the Brighton has the same problem with white paint as you. Apparently so, yes. Whereas chocolate cream ones are best looking version of the Triumph 4 wheelers. Ooh, chocolate and cream. I've never heard of Great Western described as the best version of anything. You know, that engine on Thomas used to say, there's the right way or the Great Western way. That was it, wasn't it? Well, thank you. How are you? I am very good, thank you, Great Northern. Just going to take a breath between reading things. No, I don't need to breathe. It's hydration that's important, not breathing. You breathe out. Two ways of doing things. Great Western way or the right way. Exactly, I'm Great Western and therefore do it the wrong way. Information, don't we know it? Yeah, you should know it, yes. I like to make sure everyone knows that hydration is important. Why do I like to make sure that everyone knows hydration is important? Because I needed to say something. And that was the first thing that came to mind. I think it was a complete quote. What? Now that looked like it was melting through, but I'm not convinced. Glad I wasn't convinced. I can keep my finger on there so it can't be hot enough. That's my theory. Okay, it's getting too hot for my finger now, that's a good sign. The iron is turned up to the 480 degrees, so I'm hoping that is enough to melt the solder through the brass. So does Hatton have the Batman Thomas range yet? I really want to get my hands on the new set for comparison reasons. I don't know. I think I've seen some of the new stuff in the UK, so I expect so. Got to work tomorrow, even if only from home, so wish you all good night. Okay, good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming. Speak to you later. Sleep well. Not sure Alright, it's not paddable, and also maybe I can have DC Tombow and not recognise DC sound Tombow. Or maybe you can. Just reminded me I need to get back on Henrietta for my J70. Yes, do it. I know Rails have a few bits in stock. There we go. So chances are Hattons do if Rails do. I didn't really want to have to add more solder, but it looks like I do. There we go. It's on. I love my wife says it's a lovely little coach. I'm sure it's rather. That is a rather pointy bit, a good flat one, transfer more energy to work, getting to the melting temperature more quickly. You are right, that would be sensible. And what's worse is I have all my ticks sat here, including some much flatter ones. But of course it's too hot to change it now. Does look very nice. Which you're on Discord. Yeah, I imagine Reds has been on Discord. All these are shined, aren't they? Yes. But yeah, I keep meaning to change the tip for one of the flat. In fact, I know what one I want to change it for. I just always forget to do it. Even get the thing open now. I want to put this one on there, which has a really nice flat top on it and can make lots of contact with the surface. The only time I ever think about doing it, the iron's already hot. It's just using again, but it doesn't seem to have a connection. And there's a link to my Instagram. Well, hey. I honestly do use my Instagram. I posted to it today about the same time I posted everywhere else because I forgot to post earlier. It's that blooming electrician's fault. He was here whilst when I would normally be doing that. And I had no internet whilst the whole of downstairs was turned off. So much professional attention. You're far from the first person I've not recognised on here. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty. So there are enough people on there for you to not recognise some. I'm sure everyone does it. Good evening, Z Fantasy Trains. How are you today? I hope you are well. That slipped into the wrong place, probably before I started soldering it. And of course it is actually stuck. That's no good, is it? people on the Discord, but not most of their YouTube usernames. Yeah, makes sense. Of course, the Discord is where you speak to them the most, since that's live all the time. Right, I got it off. There we go. I'm one of the few that gives most themselves away. Curse my friends and Thomas fans always calling me Morris. I mean, at least I don't call you Morris all the time. There's a reason. No, too many Thomases in the fandom. Yeah, there is. I mean, one's too many, really, isn't it? Get rid of that E2. It'd be a much nicer series. Terrible engine. Didn't even know your name was Thomas. I thought it genuinely was Morris. Well, you see now. That is why I always call him Thomas, Red. So, how's about some updates on everyone else's projects? I'm quite looking forward to hearing how your T9s are going, James. Replace the E2 with a Terrier, instant improvement. Agreed. Replace anything with a Terrier, instant improvement. Just find it easy to leave my last name these days. I do appreciate Gary calling me by my actual name. So, someone's got to. Reassemble, but motor not turning. Now disassembling tender to see whether DCC blanking plug installed. I hope it is that simple, James. Fine with either, as long as it's not Tom, Tommy or Tomo. Yeah, it makes sense. Farrow Hubswell Clark at the NVR. Seems to be DCC fitted. Oh! That's the sort of thing you should normally know before sticking it on the track. Right then, I'm going to tin the rest of these, because that bit's the easy bit. Too much flux, you say? Never, I say. You can't have too much flux. Maybe spread it out so there's actually flux everywhere I need it, though. As long as I remember to wash it all off afterwards, it's fine. Very few of my friends legit call me Duncan because one thought I looked like someone from the gaming group of the Yogscast. Hey! Not been on the track, been using 9-volt battery. Ah, wow. Yes. You should probably know whether it's DCC fitted before using a 9-volt battery as well, to be fair. So I'm aware of the Ozcasts. I know haven't watched their stuff in years though. I'm very aware of them. I am actually subscribed to one of the Yogscast members on YouTube. I'm not subscribed to anyone else from the Yogscast that in any way that I know of, but I am subscribed to one of them. I'm still working on dozens of new codes. Got a number of random buildings to go For the layout, I've got the aforementioned raw mail break and some other smaller odds and ends. Well, excellent. Lots of stuff for you to be getting on with then. That is what I like to hear. There we go. All tinned up and ready to go. Why am I using those ones? I'm not doing anything hot. I really need to replace this. It's rather annoying. The top is broken and pops out. I'm sub to a couple of yods, but only the ones I find interesting. I'm only subscribed to one who is someone I specifically find interesting. Got it second hand, it wasn't advertised DCC fitted. Fair enough, I'll let you off. I'll let you off. Can't complain at free DCC chip. I also... What the Harlem Insanity Bears is having unannounced DCC decoder. That's brilliant, James. I've had stuff advertised as DC and it arrived DCC fitted before though, so it does happen. Chances are it's someone who doesn't know what they're selling and they've just read the box. That's what I tend to find. All this productivity has made me want to start something. Excellent, that's what I like to hear. If this channel's about anything, it's getting people modelling. That is assuming we have a main subject, of course. Obviously other than terrier worship. Because everyone worships terriers here. Oh, and Sam is selling me a rebuilt M&G and JR Class 440 for KLR, which will be good. Ah, excellent. Had a couple of items. I thought DC or DC instead. Easy fix load back when I couldn't be bothered with DCC. Ah, DCC's better. With the call them on insanity because that's a new. It's brilliant. I love it. These things have to start somewhere. Indeed, I bought a couple of DC fitted engines because they were cheap. Now I have spare DCC decoders. You know what? I've done that before as well. Worship the terriers. Exactly. Particularly about decoders. So some random chip is not much use. Well, James, if you want to send it to me, go ahead. I won't complain at random DCC decoders turning up. And just if you don't want the chip, painting carriage handrails and door handles is fiddly. Indeed it is. Paint pets? That's a question from James Pets. Still plugging away at large. Cold breaker for my club's layout. I wish was more work table fitting size. Yeah. Always nice to have projects though. I do enjoy working on club projects. I cannot wait for us to be able to get back to club so that I can. Last thing I built for club was a goods shed. One of the concrete British Rail Southern Region ones. Very fine paintbrush, heavily shaken, warm Humbrol enamel metal coat. Ooh, it's been years since I've used Humbrol's metal coat. Is it any good these days? Can't make that look good. If you can make that look good, you're a better painter than I. When I was doing carriage handles, I'd use a gold or brush Sharpie. As I said, I'd use my Vallejo ones. I really like those. I quite like Humbrol paint depending on what I'm doing. Sharpie doesn't show up very well on anything other than white or grey though. That's true. I like Humbrol enamels for weathering. I do like Humbrol enamels. I have lots of them. But for actual metal stuff, it's the Vallejo stuff for me, which is the liquid metal range is brilliant. Also got some Space Marines to finish. Not overly motivated to do them recently. I don't know when I'm actually going to play again. That makes sense. Sharpies are not the same as paint pens. Indeed, they are not. Tim must be around all 6 or 7 years old. That's significantly more recent than I've used them. I find a metallic Sharpie sharpen most things. I've been using them for a while now, fair enough. Vintage, I have used Sharpies though, usually with a bit of colour is needed. I do like Posca Gold paint, being grab rails much more opaque than a Sharpie. Find it hard enough painting coach look half decent. I don't know what I'll do with coach door handles. Yeah, I do sometimes struggle with the small details, but since getting decent paintbrushes, I find it a lot easier. Get off of there. Also get off of there. There we go. I should stop using these ones that I can solder shut, shouldn't I? And use the ceramic ones that are meant for this and won't stick to anything. Decent paintbrushes are the best sort of paintbrushes. Indeed, James. Can't have too much flux in again, indeed. And there is the donations link. There we go. I'll get the solder off that properly later. To be honest, the only thing I'd want to colour handrails and such on cheap enough that I can just put proper metal ones into and not feel guilty. Yep, fair enough. Cough out here, carry on. Take care everyone, stay safe, have a peaceful week. See you around as always, Bob. Okay, thank you for coming, Bob. Good night. Hope to see you again soon, and I shall look forward to more updates on your parcels. It is parcels building, isn't it? That you're building on your platform. But yes, thank you for coming. Great to have you here as always. Yeah, see, I do pay attention. So yes, it's time to get all these stuck on now. And hopefully they all go really easily and don't cause any problems. That's definitely what's going to happen all the way along. It's not going to be that I use too much solder and spread it everywhere. definitely not what would happen. That appears to be those two stuck anyway. Yes, so now it's just the medium-sized ones across the rest of the carriage. There is 5 of them. We are getting there. We may even get this side finished tonight. That really is not the sort of progress I was expecting, is it? I mean, that's probably because originally I was thinking this would all be done after, but then I thought, no, this would be the it would be much more sensible to get all this on first. It'd be kind of silly to do all this afterwards when the coach is already together. And I do believe I was right. And I do also believe if I'd have done the tumble home first, I would have bent that back out and have a flat coach side again. Right, we're now more than halfway through sticking these vents on. And my hydration vessel is empty, so I'm going to refill it, because hydration is important. And of course, so our Oak Hill Model Railway hydration is important mugs available from merch store, !merch in the chat. Because who doesn't want a mug that says hydration is important on one side and has a picture of a terrier on the other? Because I know I would not want that. Yeah, that did make sense, honest. So we do now have more attached than we have left to attach. And of course all these ones are pre-tinned. No, you used too much solder. You got too much solder and they're going to have to spend forever cleaning it up. Not on stream. Actually, I think I've got most of it. I did not want that so much that I got one for myself. Excellent, Andy. That is what we like to hear. Of course, I knew you had one. I love the fact that not only do I have merchandise, which is a weird enough statement in itself. It's not something I ever expected to happen. One of these has vanished. We don't lose stuff, we'll have to find it. But there are people in America with merchandise of mine, and it's like, it's such a weird concept, and I love it. Never seen someone do reverse psychology on themselves before. I mean, to be fair, I didn't buy that until there had been enough sold that I could pay for it with the profits of other people buying them. And then I easily fool myself all of the time. Oh look, there's the missing one. See, we don't lose anything. We just occasionally pretend that we do. That has way too much solder on it. And there's the camera punch. You all knew it was coming. How did we know it was coming? Well, it's me. Punching the camera is basically a trademark of the channel at this point. Where's that solder? There it is. But yeah, I originally set up the merch store expecting no one to ever buy anything. I was advised to set one up because it's about the appearance, not whether people buy stuff, is what I was told. I said if you have a merch store, it makes people think you're bigger than you are and know what you're doing. Alright, okay then. And then people started buying stuff and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it really was. I mean, it's never going to make big money, but I don't expect it to, or particularly want it to. It's a hobby. But I love the fact that people have bought stuff from it, and it's just, it feels so amazing that people do. Kat has meowed at me in her peremptory tones that she thinks it's past my bedtime and shouldn't be downstairs, so I'd better go. Okay, good night, Stephen. Thank you for coming. It is always a pleasure to have you here. Sleep well, and I shall speak to you soon, I hope. Or at least read your words. I am, however, right now going to get the tumble home things out. So as I said, this is a method I've been told about. I have not actually tried it for myself, but I'm told nothing will get damaged and it will form the tumble home nicely. And it doesn't cost anything and require special tools. I'm told you get a tea towel and you lay your part face down on that's going to cause a problem having this big blob here, I think. You lay your carriage side face down on the tea towel. The tea towel allows it some sponginess so that A, stuff doesn't get damaged, and B, as you're pressing down on it you can create the curve. Tumble home is such a fantastic word. It is indeed an absolutely brilliant word. I'm not convinced it's actually correct for the bit under that turns down the side of a carriage or turns under. Also entirely inaccurate in a railway vernacular. It's a nautical architecture term. So, see, there we go. The good lady pointing it out. Thought tumble home was after a night at the pub. But yes, you then apparently, I'll say I've not tried this before. You can use the tube from your cling film or tinfoil or whatever it is called elsewhere in the world, and using that to roll gently whilst pressing down can apparently form a nice even tumble home all the way across your carriage side. I do not know how long this is supposed to take. As I say, I've not tried it, but I was advised this, I was given this method by someone at club who does do these things. Turn under is the curve at the bottom carriage side, yeah. Apparently it works really well. And of course, these are things that you throw away or just have. And I'll tell you what, there's a really nice curve at the bottom of that side there. There's a really, really nice curve that matches really nicely to that part of the carriage there. Needs a bit more at this side. But that side matches really well. I am happy to report that I clearly was not being lied to. And indeed, we must obey Gary Bot, Thomas. Hydration is important. Good evening, Will. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Going to get rid of that big lump at the bottom there that was underneath the door handle bit. Words, I can English. Tired, well, hopefully not too tired. But yeah, that is how simple it is, and it has formed an absolutely beautiful curve at the bottom. I think you transmitted your migraine across the Atlantic. I am very sorry to hear that. That is not good at all. That is matching up absolutely beautifully. Maybe just first modelling, I kept wanting to call it architrave. That's totally different entirely. True modeller never throws anything away. Everything they pick up, look how they think that can be used for something. Indeed, Ian. Indeed. Fine, you're helping me relax. Well, I am glad to hear that, Will. I am very glad to hear that. So, Red, going back to what you were saying earlier about names, just to really confuse you, Mr. Will Powell here is also on Discord. I'm contemplating turning this old HO van into a luggage and parcels van. Well, why not? I am really impressed by that. See, that's what I wasn't telling him, Will. See, you've spoiled it now. He was saying earlier how there's loads of people on here that he doesn't recognise them because of their different names from Discord, and he knows people on Discord but not on here. So I wasn't telling him you were Poke. I'm really impressed with how well that worked, if you can't tell. That's an absolutely beautiful matchup. Yeah, it took a bit of work to get there, and I had to do it a few times, but I expect that. But now that it's done, and it looks really good. And now I've got to spoil it all by bending the sides. Soon how much spoken to you both on here and on Discord. Kind of clicked you a Poke, by the way. You were stuff. Thanks for the confirmation. Oh, that's no fun if you worked it out. Yeah, that needs to go in at a full 90 degrees. This is where I do need bending bars. And of course I could get bars to put in my clamp and they would work. It'll have to be on the investment list, that one. For now though, careful bending with the pliers. Invalid Saloon walked into a bar. So who thinks I'm going to get blacklisted by YouTube for saying invalid? Because that's what YouTube's like these days. I've bent it a bit there, but nowhere else that seems to be fine. And of course I need to do the same along the top. Sometimes YouTube's worse than 1950s Russia. It has its moments where it is definitely a rather odd dictatorship. But at least this is one of those times where I'll understand why I'm banned from YouTube Kids. Because my channel is banned from YouTube Kids. Apparently. Well, it used to be. It might be back on there now. It's been a while since I've had children small enough to use YouTube Kids. I assume it's because I wave a knife around quite a lot. But who knows? Absolutely beautiful. And we have one finished side. It is nearly 11:30. That has taken nearly 2.5 hours to finish one side. That is a lot longer than I planned on spending on one side. Alex and I take full responsibility for annoying YouTube Kids. Tumble homes or something, I think I would dread messing up creasing. Well, Corbs, as I say, I have never, ever used that method before. And you saw how easy it is. You can do it. It's a tea towel and the tube from some tin foil. That is it. You can do it, Corbs. I totally get why you'd be scared of it. I have those tools. Exactly. Isn't it brilliant? No specialist expensive tools that you're going to use once or twice. Just stuff you have lying around. You can do it if you B&Q it. I'll get flagged up for that now. Thanks, James. I sort of want to fold this down and then be able to put the coach together. That goes down and then that goes out. Yes. I can't, my nearest B&Q is Yarmouth. Well, I don't know how far away that is from you, but I'll assume it's a long way. My nearest is Eastbourne. I generally go to Wicks. I think I want to do the buffer beam next, because that's going to go round the buffer beam when I fold it back up. I need to start doing that. It's like, it is the one thing I was skipping my scratch wheels. I wish I made sides in brass for that reason. Yeah, it's yeah. Have you considered bending, using a ruler and bending over the edge of the bench? I have, but I mean, even using my fingers, this is bending really nicely, as I just discovered on the buffer beams. So I'm not even going to grip it in the pliers. About 40 odd miles. Further than it is to my local B&Q then. Mine's 12-ish by road, but Wicks is 1, so Wicks wins. Tried out the steel ruler, didn't go well very well. No, needs to be a wooden one. I don't have a wooden ruler. I have a plastic one. This is where I might have problems. The bending back here. But once it's going, it seems okay. My close one's 2,000 miles. Oh, you don't have one. You don't have them in the US. Ah, I did not know they were not in the US. Wooden rulers aren't that good. Can't use sonic screwdriver on one. But got those in on. Okay, thank you for coming, Ian. See you later. I hope you have enjoyed. Good night, sleep well, etc. Also, I wouldn't want to bend things round my plastic one. As you can just about see a line that goes across here all the way, because I snapped it. It's very brittle these days. It's probably the various chemical things it's had on it in its lifetime that has made it very brittle, I would imagine. Called Home Depot. Oh, is Home Depot the same company, is it? Currently marvelling at Mary Hampton Productions' Terrier chassis build at the moment, as well as watching the stream. Why not? Why not? A mile away. Ah, see, that's not too far. That sits slightly lower down there, I believe. And then that sits there, and look, we've built a whole carriage. Just like that, an entire carriage. Aren't we clever? D. So D goes here. Doesn't say which way round it goes, but it goes here. C. C goes here. Which means this one must be B and B must go here. There we go, it's even got internal dividers. So you'll B661 Sutton, yeah, that's me. There way. Good name. Good name. I approve of Sutton. There we go, see, we've built a whole carriage, including internal partitions. Aren't we good? I think so. And there's a link to the Discord. So this is why you say name on everything. Ah, but I don't anymore. I used to use the same name on everything. Or once upon a time. Choose not to handle for mine. See, that my Oak Hill Model Railway name, I think that Twitter was the first place it got used. No, it wasn't. My Twitter got renamed Oak Hill Model Railway. Possibly when I set up this, possibly slightly earlier. Possibly when I got the layout. But that wasn't the first time I'd used it, I don't think. So I have a different name on RM Web as a result of that. So I need to be careful with things that are hot. Found that out the hard way. That's not decent. T9 DC chip working, but now motor gear not meshing. Oh, that's not good. That is not good. I've not got the dreaded motor mount Mazak rot. Ah, he did have Linny, but they've been replaced. It was Mazak Rotty. I have two Twitters, one so I can get away from Thomas stuff and one that is my Thomas account, ironically my main, like my other channel. Right then. I suppose it's time to stop messing around and get some details on here. With the brass one, yes indeed the brass one. From Peter's Spares. Sometimes I know the correct things to recommend to people. If I manage to avoid that one, I have one die-cast chassis ones. Alright, hydration, still important. Blue Diamond Chemist. I mean, you realise diamonds aren't actually blue. That's only a Minecraft thing. If you want blue gemstones, you want sapphires. I know, it's just being daft. Well, yes, obviously. You were being daft. Right. They are all hopefully okay. A couple of those don't look it. That one I'm not sure about either. Let's do some detailing. And 3. Definitely one I've been called Ruby Wishful Thinker. Trash houses. I've been called. I've never had that. Hello, you silly humans. Hello, Hardy Hat. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Ooh, I found 2 more 6-wheel carriage sets for Hastings, granted from 1908. But I won't tell if you won't. I definitely won't tell Alex. Or anyone else for that matter. But 6-wheel sets are good sets. Especially that South Eastern and Chatham one that you had behind a P-class in that picture you posted earlier. That was very tasty looking. Especially the one it was behind, because of course that's the one I've driven. You know, nobody will. True, nobody will. Doing great, been watched a lot of old archive footage from the end days. Scene really interesting how dirty everything got. You can tell they were running steam engines into the ground. No human Time Lord, thank you. Yes, it is certainly an interesting period. Once upon a time, that was my main modelling, was that period. It really was very interesting just how everything went in those last years. And of course the reason I modelled that period is because I didn't think I had the skills to do pre-grouping. I thought I would never be able to do it. And now I do it on camera. I mainly model the 60s, so I usually end up weathering most of my engines to such a state. Yeah, certainly in the 60s. I'm a small furry creature from Alpha Centauri. Are you now? Candy Dance Productions released a video a while back from Steam Depot that was really neat to watch. Oh, yeah. Well, I do enjoy stuff like that. I have all the decades of Steam stuff here, and there's very interesting footage in there There's also very interesting footage of significantly earlier than the end of Steam in there. Move that up a bit. I also model the 60s, the 1860s. Much better 60s they are, Will. They're my preferred 60s. Had a panic attack just now. I thought Gary was about to cut the kit up with some scissors before I saw they were pliers. The cutty things have blue handles. The grabby things have red handles. Except the knife, which has a completely different handle. I should point out, I'm not even joking, look, my pliers, my snips also have blue handles. My other pliers also have red handles. Oh, that one is not quite enough. Human Estate Steam was pretty much gone by the mid to late 50s. My grandmother lived with a set of 8 tracks on the hill when she was little. She loved watching the big engines snorting up the hill. Oh wow, yes. I can imagine. Couldn't see the handle. Fair enough, I'll let you off. But now you know in future, for if you can see the handle, how to tell the difference quickly and easily between my tools. And yes, it is on purpose. Hold on a second, I can be a real woman. Takes off glasses, starts fainting again. Someone got the reference, as long as someone did, because I certainly didn't. Men were real men, women were real women, small fairy creatures from Elf Centauri were real small fairy creatures from Elf Centauri, and all dared to brave unknown terrors and do mighty deeds, boldly split initiatives no man split before, thus was the Empire forged. How is the motor supposed to be secured to the motor mount? I've never used it, I just know of them and know that people have used them. So I cannot answer that, unfortunately. Oh dear, I've dropped the other two out. That was kind of predictable, wasn't it? Like I did last time. There's one. The point is they're all bent to shape now. So let's get this one soldered on. There it is. Soldered on so that we can then get the other ones threaded back through. And get them soldered on without everything dropping out. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy area. Fair enough. I genuinely did not know. Although I must say, when I read Linny's comment back again, I was thinking it was very Hitchhikers, but I wasn't sure. No, it fell out again. And that's 2 in. Is it bad? I thought the mention of Centauri was on about the Doctor Who alien. Yes, of course it is. Brave Unknown Terriers, I think you mean, Linny. How do you have so much knowledge on freight wagons? Have you ever thought doing videos how freight trains work, like how many wagons coaches should your train pull? I don't think I know enough for a video like that. I usually, if I'm going to if I reference something, it's usually something I have been studying very recently before, and that's why I know it. Oh, there it is. See, we don't lose things here. I'll say beginning to make reference to the video. Anyway, I need to go to bed. Got work tomorrow night. Or good night, Red. Thank you for coming. It has been great to have you here. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Sleep well. And enjoy the pleasures that are going to work. Probably see you all in the morning on Discord. I hope so. Right, pros and cons of brass, white metal, plastic models. Okay, so brass models I like for their detail. This, for example, look at how beautiful the panelling and everything is on there. It is all wonderfully done. That is not the sort of detail that you will get out of white metal or injection moulded plastic. But on here, in brass, which is done by chemicals, you can indeed do. Brass also holds value. Not so much in the UK, it doesn't. Plastic is the ease of use, because of course slap some poly cement on it, stick it together. White metal, the weight. It is good for making locomotives because it is big and heavy. So I do have white metal, quite a few white metal locomotives. Paired with a big motor, they'll pull anything. By big, of course, I mean torquey. Are most kits from different makers similar in terms of the finished product, assuming you did everything right? Any kits to avoid, kits to buy as many as you can? I mean, there is certainly a lot of variation in quality. But it really depends on what you're after, because there is so many different manufacturers out there doing different things. I don't think you can really blanket lists of good, bad and other. Certainly, as an example there would be my D3 kit I did a while ago that was a resin mould. I had a great time with that kit. It went really well. However, I do know people have had issues with other kits from the same manufacturer. "3D printed kits are the future." Well, 3D printed kits are allowing a lot more people to make them, but ease of ability to make kits does not necessarily mean lots of good kits. If anyone can do it, then you will also get people that are not very good at it doing it. Which of course means more scrutiny required. Best kit to be my first build, any recommendations? It depends on the medium you want to use. So if you want to use plastic, Ratio make really nice coach kits that can get you in and going on there. If you want to use white metal, Southeastern Finecast do some really nice locomotives that are quite easy to build. They also include etched nickel silver, which is very much like working with brass. And I don't think I've built enough brass kits to give a real recommendation on brass. This is a kit from Branchlines, who are reasonably hard to get a hold of. But also I've built some of their kits before and enjoyed them. But usually I use brass. I've used a lot of brass in the past for scratch building rather than kit building, which is a completely different beast, although people will tell you it's the same. Hydration is still important, as are mugs with terriers on, ! merch. "3D printing is good for parts, coaches, stock." Yeah, as long as you have a competent designer working on it. That's my point, is that a lot of people out there, because 3D printing is so accessible, there will be a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing who are doing it. "I'm waiting for printable metal to become domesticated, can then print all the things fully working." I have printed metal from Shapeways. It's terrible. There we go, 9 down, 41 to go. I did add the command. It makes me happy. I am glad it makes you happy. The really big thing will be colour 3D printing. Yes, apparently that is a thing. I can't remember where I read about it, but there is apparently colour 3D printing. It's on its way, but it's not there yet. Yeah, so I can't remember where it was. I read about it, and they were talking about, I think it was they were printing people in colour. I feel I'm fairly decent, though. Big problem with scale. I think you do quite a good job, Will. I am a fan of your 3D CAD stuff you put on Discord. Terribly in what way? I know shrinkage is an issue. Chunkiness and finish. Honestly, the parts that I got 3D printed in metal are going to be remade from scratch. It's been a thing for a while. Issue so far is level of detail. Fair enough. It looks so powdery, the 3D colour printing. I'll take your word for that. It's Model U. Ah, is it? I did not know that. They're only doing 8 gauge. I did not realise it was them. Shapeways do colour too, I think. Yeah. They have coloured sandstone at Shapeways. Interesting. It's possible a weird split of lots, but I prefer to paint a print. That way it looks properly finished. Yeah, I prefer paint finish. I prefer a painted finish on models to a plastic finish. When I'm detailing a model, if I'm using black plastic, I will paint it black. If I'm using white plastic, I'll paint it white if need be. Because generally I'm not modelling something that was made of plastic. And plastic looks like plastic. But paint looks like something that's been painted. Chunking is probably due to expansion. That's something you have to anticipate as a designer usually. No, I'll dig it out and stick some pictures on Discord at some point, and you'll see what I mean. Right, I track down all my carriage numbers, diagrams and pages. I'll compare them to the Hornby Hatton's products. And on, my laptop's about to die. Bon night, good stream, great tips. Good night. Okay, good night, Alex. Thank you for coming. It has been wonderful to have you here. I look forward to seeing the results of your research. So this may be a dumb question. Has anyone tried weighing their locos and stock to what they would really weigh, only scaled down? Would the motors not be able to handle it? I don't think the motors would handle it. A rule of thumb I was given is for wagons, in fact for all rolling stock, because it works for bogie coaches as well of course, is 25 grams per axle. So a bogie carriage like that, you want to weigh 100 grams. I'm also told Hornby's new four-wheelers weigh 47 grams. Face full of fumes there, that was not nice. Went right up my nose and in my eyes and everything. But that is all of them tinned now. Difficulty there is that when you scale the model carriage down to 176, the volume goes down with the cube of the scale. So 176 carriage. Yeah, I'm not reading all that out. It's less than the volume of a real one. Ventilation is important. It is indeed. Smoke always finds you. Yes, apparently so. It's been a while since I've had a face full of quite that much flux. The reason I ask is because you can't really fake something to look heavy when it's not. Even in low scale, wagons tend to bump around a bit too harshly because they don't have the weight holding them back. Ah, well, that is a very interesting reason to ask. I can't say I've ever noticed it myself, but that's probably a lack of paying attention to how it should look over just enjoying it personally. But yeah, that's an interesting thought. I had genuinely never considered that. You could do it proportionally, I guess, although not necessarily to 176 scale. After all, A3 weighed 96 tonnes. At 176, that'd still go through your baseboard. Yes, yes it would. To properly experience small scale, you would need to film it and play it back at lower FPS. Well, you would know these things, Corbs. Yeah, I genuinely never considered that. Problem is, forces and acceleration don't scale linearly. This is why things like water and smoke don't look right on scale models. Well, of course, I've tried that when I dabbled in model filmmaking. And did you get a good effect from it? Can someone who's better at mass crunching numbers for me? I'm curious how much 176 weighed. 176 weighed a would weigh. Yeah. I would, but not at this time of night. I can normally do stuff like that. A3, yeah. So I can normally do stuff like that in my head, not this time of night though. And there is a remember to like and subscribe. That means we've only got 3 minutes left. I'm going to cut these out and stick them straight in here. And then we shall have a look at what we have achieved. And yes, smoke doesn't scale well at all. No it does not. I quite agree with you there. Although I do like the effect of some smoke units, not all. But there are certainly some that I like the effect they give. But realistic it is not. 1.28 tonnes. Quite a lot then. That would be a rather heavy model. Right then, those are cut and ready for next time. Seen G-scale American train that had a beast of smoke unit, it actually looked real. That's quite cool. I would like to see something like that. Roughly £2,830 for our American viewers. It's a lot. That's what it is. So I make it basically midnight, which is where, of course, the other command I added recently comes into play. James, just for you. Put it down on the bench. So we have the beginnings of a carriage. I'm actually really happy with how far we've got with this. Getting that much weight, the model's small, that probably break a few laws, science and nature. It probably would. There you go. See, James, just for you. So, we have got a side ready. It is detailed. It has its grab rails, it has its handrails, it has all its vents along the top. It is curved with its tumble home and has its flaps folded top and bottom. We have the bottom folded, ready to go. We have the other side with its handrails and grab rails and ready to tinned to have its ventilators on. And we have all the ends cut out. I think it would be quite reasonable to say we will have some of these big parts attached to each other next week. And I think that will be quite exciting. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Looking good so far. Thank you, Corbs. Very, very nice. Don't give me ideas. Ah, do it. You know you want to. Use the uranium. I don't know where you'd get it, but use it. So, yes, that is how far we have got tonight. So, I reckon we can have some pretty serious progress on this next week. I'm not Corbs. No, you're not. I looked at your picture and saw the black and it just looked like Corbs' one. Never mind, Thomas. Great work. I am Corbs. Thank you, Corbs. See, it's because you've both got black profile pictures. That's what it is. Looks pretty good. Thank you. I've got some friends now in low places. Probably get it. I am the Stig. So, yeah. I'm Brian. Well, you're not the Messiah, though, are you? Just a very naughty boy. Looking great tonight, Gary. Carriage is good too. Great stream. Thank you, Linny. It's pretty good. Thank you. I am Fruit. I should say. I am Mauve. I'm Queen. Right. Thank you, everyone. It has been great. I've had a wonderful time. I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build, and you've been awesome. Good night.